Welcome to the Karen Kenney Show.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. I'm super duper excited to be here talking to you about this topic, which I'm not sure what I'm going to call. I could call this episode a bunch of different things, but I'll probably call it something like starting your day over. Just just starting that son of a bitch right over. You ever have, oh my God, you ever have one of those days when before, maybe even before your feet hit the floor or not too long after that, you've already kind of like shot yourself in the foot, whether it's with your own pissy attitude or breaking a promise to yourself or doing something you said you were going to do, like doing something, not doing something you said you were going to do, or you find yourself doing something you said you weren't going to do. And you're just like, oh, like just fuck it. Like I already ruined it. It's already ruined. So I got to thinking about this because we were talking on a call for the Nest. The Nest is my spiritual mentoring group, right? It's an experience, it's a program, it's a community, it's like amazing people. And my friend who's in the group was telling a story about how the other day at around like 4 o'clock, she had found herself like in a mood. Excuse me. So she was like kind of in a mood and she had already just pretty much determined. She's like, it was only 4 o'clock, but I knew like I was going to be in that mood. Like I had just decided like the day is already shot. The rest of the day is already shot. And I'm going to like just going to stay in this state of mind. And so it got me to thinking about how a children's game, this little children's game that we played when we were little kids, or this thing that we would call out, could literally just like it's like having a time traveling device. It's like being able to like have like a white eraser board, right? On your life, on your day, in your mind. And it's this simple thing where it's a do-over. It's like, can I just get a do-over? Like I want a do-over. And I know, like if you were a kid, and I think I did an episode about this, something like this. It wasn't in this same exact angle, but it was like 200 episodes ago. And it was like talking about like, can I just get a do-over? So when we were kids, one of the fun things about when you're a little kid and you're playing a game, and if things aren't going the way that you want them to, like little kids will just randomly scream, do-over, do-over. But here's the thing. This childlike solution is still wicked good. Like we can still put it to work and to use today as adults. So anytime that your day is starting to turn to crap or is already turned to crap, right? It's like you're just like you realize like you just want to bang your face off your desk because it's been one of those days. So I will say this though. Okay. So when you're in one of those tizzies, when you're in one of those like panties in a bunch, when you're in like a mood, or you're just determined to self-sabotage yourself, this childlike solution is way better than being hijacked by our cranky little bastard of an ego and acting childish. Because that's one of the things that happens when things aren't going our way or things aren't going the way we want them to, we expect them to, just stuff isn't turning out quote unquote right, right? Really just how we had projected our preferences onto, we can start to act like little spoiled brats. We start to have what I call like adult tantrums. Trust me, double amen hands if you know what I'm talking about, if you did this, okay? Okay, so um, I learned about this concept, of course, as a child, right? When we would just randomly scream out, do over, do over. But this concept also got solidified and I relearned it. And I might do a whole podcast on this. I've been talking to my one-to-one client about this quite a bit, and the people in the Nest as well, about how so much of personal development work, mind shift work, spiritual mentoring, all the different things you want to, whatever you want to call it, so much of it is about unlearning, learning, and then relearning. So something that I learned and continue to relearn all the time is a concept that I learned years ago in Al-Anon. So if you don't know what Al-Anon is, most people do, but if you don't, so there's AA. AA is, Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's for people who find themselves needing help with addiction to substances or whatever, right? To booze, alcohol. Al-Anon is for people who have, found themselves in relationships, whether that's parental, like your family, your sister, your brother, a friend, your sweetie, whoever. So this is for the people who, like, quote unquote, as they would say, love the alcoholics, right? So I used to go to Al-Anon. I've often jokingly said I have been lucky enough to know and love quite a few alcoholics in my lifetime. So in Al-Anon, though, there's this concept that is like, you are not sentenced, like you are not inflicted by, right? You are not sentenced to having a bad day, meaning we are not stuck with the day as the way it's going. And if things aren't going well, right, we can start that sucker over at any time. So this concept of you can begin your day again at any point has literally been life-changing for me. There's a part of us, I think, that when things get hard or things aren't going well or right or all the labels we put on it, we sometimes just want to like pull the cover up over our heads or just say, screw it. And we can apply this to like lots of different things. Food's just an easy one. Let's just say you decided that you were going some particular habit, whether you were going to start going to the gym or you were going to stop eating a particular thing, right? And let's just use food, like I said, because it's universal and it's pretty easy. So let's say you just decided, like, I'm not going to drink diet soda anymore. I'm not going to drink beer anymore. I'm not going to eat chocolate, whatever the thing is. And then lo and behold, you find yourself doing the thing. Or you say something like, I'm going to stop at one piece of pizza, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, like you're three deep, you're like three pieces deep. And some little part of your ego mind says something like this: fuck it. You already ruined it. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep ruining it. Let's just like make it worse. We do this because we're kind of like insane. And instead of just like noticing what we're doing, stopping it and not creating further havoc or further damage or whatever, we kind of throw up our hands in a little adult tantrum and we just kind of go like, fuck it, I'll start tomorrow instead. Or, oh, I already blew it. And it's kind of like, let's imagine you're driving a car and it's got four tires and you get one flat or something, right? You're driving and you roll over a nail, whatever it is, and you get a flat. And instead of just stopping and fixing that flat, you just get out and slash all the rest of your tires, like the other three. You just totally disable yourself because that inner critic is beating you up so bad. And it also gives you an excuse to keep doing the behavior that you know isn't going to serve you, right? So it's not logical in any way that we would keep doing that we would keep perpetuating our own suffering, and yet we do it all the time. And a lot of it's because our ego, we are being hijacked by that ego mind. We are being hijacked by that part of our mind that is trying to prove to us just how bad and guilty and shameful and all that we are. And if any of this sounds familiar, right? If you haven't already listened to my previous episode with my teacher, David Bedrick, it's the last episode, The Unshaming Way. It's such a powerful episode, and I highly recommend that you give it a listen. So, okay, here's the point I'm trying to make. If your day starts to go to crap, just know that you can always start your day again. You can start it like right over at any time. I don't care if it's 10:30 at night. You still have an hour and a half left in that day. You can start your day over at any point. And the most profound shift that you can have is to simply just start to shift your point of view, shift your perspective on yourself and like what's going down. A shift in perspective. This is in A Course in Miracles. We talk about how a shift in perspective in your mind from a thought system of fear. Fuck it, I already blew it. I'm stupid. I'm a mess. Like all that criticism, all that judgment, all that attack. When we can shift out of that mode and instead shift it to love, that in fact is a miracle. And I think one of the things is that we sometimes forget, just like when we were little kids and we were playing a game and we didn't like how it was going. And we would just go do over. Like, it's like there are no rules. There were no rules then, right? We're making up the rules as we go. And there's really kind of no rules now. So if your day starts off on the wrong foot, if your day starts to turn to shit, like if it, like really, if things start to go badly, rather than continuing to let everything go downhill, simply start your day over again. This is like genius. This is like genius. And we discount it, I think, because it is so simple. So here are a couple of tools. So number one, here's what we need to do. We need to, number one, catch ourselves doing it. We need to catch ourselves in that sabotaging act and notice that we're doing that whole, like, I am determined to be miserable. So it's 3 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock, it's 2, whatever time it is. And you start to realize that you not only have been sitting in your shitty diaper, you want to keep sitting in it. When you start to notice that, right? This is when we have the opportunity to catch ourselves, recognize what we're doing, okay? And then choose differently. And then we get to choose differently. There's a line in A Course in Miracles, and it basically says that, all right, I gotta really think on this for a second. Hold on. Um, oh shoot. Okay. I just remembered. It's this is the line. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like trials, meaning trials and tribulations, tough times, whatever the situation is. Trials are but lessons that you failed to learn. These trials that are showing up now, they're just lessons that you failed to learn. Presented once again, meaning it's coming back around, right? Trials are but lessons you failed to learn, presented once again, where before, right? Where before you did this thing, now you can choose again. You can choose differently. You can choose peace instead of this. And this is such a helpful thing. All right. Number one, we got to slow down enough to catch ourselves in the act. And then instead of meeting ourselves with judgment and cruelty and attack, we can simply just be curious and say, oh, interesting. I'm about to do the thing again. Right. Meet ourselves with a sense of humor, with compassion, with curiosity, and then choose differently. Okay, so here's a couple of tools. First of all, literally just take a big breath in. When you're about to catch yourself, when you're about to go into that loop, just pause, take a big deep breath in. Okay, and then we're going to begin again. We're going to start our day all over again. So when we're all worked up, I wrote myself this note, when we're all worked up and determined to stay in the shitty diaper, we might not immediately be able to remember all the great spiritual tools that we have in our spiritual toolkit. So that's what I say. Like, I have a lot of tools in my spiritual toolkit. I have a lot of ways to interrupt patterns. Everything from breath work to bilateral stimulation to tapping to peripheral vision, like all these tools that I've learned over the years, right? But when we're in a moment, when we're being hijacked by our ego, we might not always be able to remember or access all those tools. But something as simple and easy and fun as do-over, I think all of us can probably like remember that, right? I think we've got a pretty good shot at remembering just yelling out do-over. Okay. So if my own mind starts to get squirrely and things are starting to go in the shit out, right? I'm just like, if I'm dangerously close, like if I find myself dangerously close to either thinking, saying, or doing something that I've convinced myself might feel good in the moment, but I know that I'll probably regret later, it's really helpful to know that I can take a big breath in, stop, right? Choose again, like shift my perspective and to choose differently this time, to not just keep like not getting out of the car and slashing the rest of the tires and saying, oh, I already blew it. It's like, no, I can begin again at any time, and so can you. Number two, this can be a really helpful tool. When you change your physical state, you change your emotional state. And that's what's really happening is our thoughts are often driving our behaviors, our choices, our actions, our patterns, our habits, the things that we're about to do or continue to do that's just going to self-sabotage us and make it even harder for us to begin again, right, tomorrow. So when we change our physical state, it can significantly impact our emotional state. The mind and the body are connected. We all know this at this point, not just spiritually. The scientists have proven it, right? So when we alter our physical posture, when we alter movement, or even how we're breathing, our breathing patterns, we can totally influence our mood. We can totally change our overall well-being, our emotional well-being. So here's the thing. If you want to feel better, move your body differently. So here are some of the things I wrote down that you could do. You could say or shout out loud, "do over." And whenever I do that, right, it makes me laugh. Laughter is powerful medicine. So that's a nice pattern interrupt. You could literally get up, do some jumping jacks, dance around, literally go out a door and come back again, signifying a new start. You can open a window, breathe in some fresh air, and just be like, "do over. I am starting fresh," right? You can take some deep breaths. You can place your hands on your heart, or you can place your hands on your head. And when you're in that space, take a nice big breath in through your nose, exhale out twice as long, and make a conscious decision to change your mind, to shift your perspective. And I know that some of this might be like, there's no way that this works. Like, this is way too simple. But I swear, you guys, it works. If you consciously choose to shift your mind, if you consciously choose to shift your body and to choose something different. So, do over. And I don't care if it's been 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 minutes, 3 hours, or whatever. We can interrupt the pattern that we are going down, that neural network in our brain, that we are just making that neural network stronger and stronger every time we do this pattern or this habit. And if we can interrupt it, I'm telling you, so much change can happen. So don't feel like you're stuck. Don't feel like you have to be stuck, but with that adult tantrum and that hijacked ego mind. And again, think of it that way, literally. Oh, I've gotten one flat tire and now I'm insisting on deflating the other three, right? Like, that is not gonna help or get you anywhere. So this idea that you can start your day over at any time is so powerful. And look, there's no rules. You are the captain of your own ship. You are the co-creator of your life, and you can do whatever you need to do or want to do so that you're making better choices that reflect who you really are, which is love. So I hope this has been helpful in some way. It's a quick one. It's a short one. But I was just thinking about it, and it came up in a couple of different places, so I wanted to share it with you. So my desire is always to help you in some way have some spiritual tools that we can apply to everyday living. And look, we all have a story of ourselves, right? Just like sabotaging ourselves, like right out of the gate. And then just continuing to roll on down the road, just going deeper and deeper into our own circumstances that we've created that we know is not going to end well. So we can always choose again. Remember, trials are but lessons that we failed to learn, presented once again, where before we made a faulty choice, we can now, right? We can now. Our internal teacher calls to us, right? And says, "My brother, my sister, choose again. Choose differently. I could choose peace instead of this." All right, you guys. Any way that you want to find out about what I'm up to, what I'm doing, how we can work together, just go to KarenKenney.com. It's all there on my website. I always love hearing from you guys, and I hope this was helpful in some way. And I love you guys, and I appreciate you. Okay, wherever you go, may you leave yourself and the animals and the place and the people, the environment better than how you found it. Wherever you go, may you, your presence, your energy, your love be a blessing. Bye.